sponsors.
Welcome to your weekly program, BelAhdan, the show that brings troublemakers to your living room. Yesterday I went to see Joseph and a Technicolor, amazing Technicolor coat, wherever, in Ordway Theater, and it's amazing. This is a story about hope and dreams, and any dream will do, American twist and biblical story, and that's the teacher is telling her fifth grader or whatever. But everybody looks in that play a Middle Eastern except Joseph. He looks like David Beckham or something. He's like a white blonde. And it's just amazing. Jesus looks like a tennis player, a Swedish tennis player. Now Joseph like a David Beckham. I don't know what this country, I think they think sport is the new religion now. Why would you tell a Middle Eastern story through a blonde white man is beyond me. But anyway, it's a musical, it's fun, it's an American spectacle. Today is not as fun as we think. We're talking about the raid that the FBI had in September about, for all reason, anti-war activists. I thought they'll be raiding anti-peace, but they were raiding anti-war in Minneapolis and Chicago, and they subpoenaed some of them, and raided their homes, house, taking the computer and belongings and what have you. So we have here somebody has been subpoenaed that month, or maybe resubpoenaed. And everybody knows Sarah Martin. She is a 71 years old mother of 3, grandmother of 5, and great grandma. My goodness, and she's still at it. Born and raised in Duluth, and has lived in the Twin City for 40 years. She is a retired nurse who worked for a regional hospital in St. Paul for 25 years. She said for herself, I have been peace and justice activist since the 60s. My goodness. So you really, it was a tremendous time in the 60s.
I came in at the very tail end of that, and actually my eyes just opened at that point. Until then, I probably was like, well, not quite half the country, but I thought the government did not lie. I thought the war in Vietnam was a good thing, and all I had to do was read one article about what was oftentimes that's all it takes is you get a piece of the truth. One finally hears or reads the truth, and
but that was in the 60s.
Change,
it was Vietnam War and Soviet Union, China, trouble. But now, 40 years later, or more than 50 years later here, and we're still having the same anti-government, or not anti-government, but not trusting the government, what they telling us or what they do.
That's right.
Anything changed in the 60 years or 50 years here?
Well, I think probably the degree the U.S. has developed as an even bigger empire at this point. There is no more Soviet Union that was kind of a counterweight to putting the brakes on what we were doing, and we've waged many more wars. We occupy many more countries. We've killed many more people. I mean, that's what's changed.
Every couple of years we invade a country. But in the 60s, a lot of people were with you, with the Antiwar. I mean, the country almost were mostly against the war or whatever. But these days...
No, actually, I think even it took a long time for the population to become opposed to. And if you recall, before the first Gulf War and the second war, over 50% were opposed. Then for a brief time, people are in favor of what's going on.
What I'm saying,
but even now, it's like 70% are against the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and people's view of the our support of the occupation of Palestine by Israel is changing. So the difference is the 60s were an age of great resistance in this country. I mean, it was African Americans were resisting, women were resisting.
The era itself.
It was an era of great resistance.
The government really wasn't popular.
Yeah, and that isn't quite the case now.
Do you think the country as a whole tilting to the right?
Well, I don't know if the population is really tilting toward the right. Certainly the government is.
Midterm election telling us that the country, since Reagan, the 30s, and the Tea Party, the Christian rights, and all these things, I hear things now, it's like I'm in Egypt. I mean, Sarah Palin had a fatwa against this WikiLeaks guy. I mean, it's like the fatwa. They go and get him.
I know. Yeah.
So in the midst of it, even.
But that's true. But what is going on with WikiLeaks is very, very important. Obviously, this couldn't have happened in the 60s. It did to some degree with to a great degree with Daniel Ellsberg, but the ability
we have Colleen Rowley. She's going to talk about him because
and I mean, all this material that's coming out about how the U.S. really operates in the world is it's amazing, and it can't be stopped. I mean, the technology allows us to know what's going on.
Cannot keep lies anymore.
That's another thing. So the lies, that has changed. But the ability to know the lies.
I know the article was published in Star and Tribune in, I think, a month and a half ago, September 24th, about the raid.
That was the day.
Yeah. There is about, when I checked today, it was about 430 comments. And I know the people who comment there, they're very upset people. I mean, when I write something in Star and Tribune, I don't see any positive comment because I think the Star and Tribune is culpable for this because they allow people to be anonymous. If you want to make a comment, I had my name there. You should have yours. I mean, and then we can talk. But anonymous, you can say any. And Minnesota nice is not really nice. When you are anonymous, you're not nice anymore. But anyway, let me read you some of this comment. I will just tell you, the country is tilting. I appreciate the effort being made to safeguard our country. It's not yours, it's their country. If they are doing nothing wrong, there shouldn't be an issue. However, if they are against the value of our country, I have heard about a number of people from Mexico would love to change place with them. I mean, it is bigot, it's racism, it has all what's wrong with this country.
It all, right, that's right.
And anonymous.
Yeah.
It is very solid when the FBI busting down a door. They are not some random loose. I mean, the people, they still trust the system.
That's right.
So I can on, and most of these comments, in the same line. So when you hear things like that, when you meet these people that you try to wake them up, I mean, you've been doing this for long times. So how do you feel about that?
Well, and those are at one extreme, and I'm not sure that I would try to wake them up. But we do hear, even from our own friends and family, people want to trust. I mean, we live here. We pay taxes. We've grown up here. And it's hard to believe that our government is capable of such horrendous acts. And we hear it directly now when people say, well, why don't you just testify in front of the grand jury if you've done nothing wrong, or you've done nothing wrong? We know you've done nothing wrong. You have nothing to hide.
It's not as simple as that.
No, because the grand jury is a pretty undemocratic.
So tell us, as far as you personally, tell us what happened on September 24th.
Okay, on September 24th, actually, I was not raided.
Okay.
The FBI did come to visit me that day, but I wasn't home. And on Monday, the following Monday, I did receive a subpoena to appear before the grand jury in Chicago, as you said, investigating material support.
So you have to go to Chicago?
Yeah.
Who pays for the trip?
Well, they actually do that. The government does pay for that.
Silly.
But the people that were raided, there were 14 people, 5 homes in Minnesota, or in Minneapolis, and the offices of the Antiwar Committee, and 2 homes in Chicago. And we range in age from 29 to 71. there are 6 children under the age of 6 who are involved in this. And 6 children of the 14, and now they're actually 19 who are being affected by this, and whose parents may potentially go to jail. And
I see what you mean.
Yes, and in the case of...
They're not being subpoenaed or
No,
arrested.
no, they're not. But
because they've done that in Afghanistan.
Their parents have had to make arrangements for custodial care.
It's a hardship.
It's
physical.
Very disrupting to family life. Several, I think maybe 9 are union activists or union members. And everybody, the thing that links this all is we were all involved in organizing the Day 1 march, the permitted peaceful march, September 1st, when the Republican National Convention was meeting in St. Paul, and we planned a march an anti-war march.
I'm assuming you've been watched under the radar before that.
I think that's when it started.
Really?
I mean, that was a national security
event. Because it talks about your involvement or visit, the Palestinians.
That happened after that. But I think that is when we came into the crosshairs of the government scrutiny. I mean, remember the RNC-8? They were infiltrated at that time, and we were too. So that's when it began, and then it's just continued.
So, protesting the Republican National.
No.
I mean, it's not really. I mean, everybody in Minnesota was, half of Minnesota was against and protesting there. But there must be something else that they're going after, those peace activists.
We're not sure. I mean, this
intimidation?
Absolutely. It absolutely has a chilling effect on anti-war and international solidarity activism. I think those are probably the 2 things they are going after.
I'm not only intimidating you, because you guys mainstream, you can, I don't know, but intimidating the others, people like me.
Absolutely.
When I see a white 71-year-old activist being harassed and subpoenaed, if I'm an average Muslim, I'm sitting home with my rug. I'm not going anywhere.
No.
But what I'm saying is, the connection is, I like one of the slogans we were during the support that you get in. There was a rally there.
At the
from
FBI?
Colombia to Palestine, it is not a crime.
Yeah.
So there's a connection there.
That's right. Isn't that interesting that those are the 2 countries that are particularly...
What's going on in Colombia? We know what's going on in Palestine.
Well, the 2 so-called foreign terrorist organizations that are cited in, specifically cited, but I'm sure Hamas is too, is the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine in Palestine, and the FARC, and I don't know what the Spanish is for that, in Colombia. Those are the 2 organizations that are...
So Colombia is run by a right-wing government,
exactly.
And there is drugs and there is all kind of stuff, and we are training military leader in our madrasa. We always talk about Afghani's madrasa. This is our madrasa that train killers.
That's right.
Right-wing killers, and send them to South America.
Well, in fact, and that's right. We are the terrorist organizations we are supporting
in our school here.
Yes, exactly. Our armies are our support of paramilitaries.
School of America, I think that's what they call
exactly, and it's with our tax money. So, I guess a case can be made that I have given material support, but it's to the U.S. government and
exactly.
There's
a lot of people giving support to the School of America.
That's right.
That train terrorists.
Yeah. Well, our taxes pay for that, obviously, and our taxes pay for the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq. They are illegal, criminal wars that.
So is this hot air, wash, intimidation? But this is serious business.
It's very serious business.
You must subpoena. You have 2 options to cooperate.
That's right.
And or you're not. And then if in one case.
Well, and